First ever, yep.
Awesome.
Yep,
Welcome to the hot seat.
I've held out for this long, but yeah, I'm here now, ready to roll, ready to shoot. Care of Tito Santana, because my impression was that everybody just lived at Titan Towers. So I sent a letter to Tito Santana asking if he had any interest in training wrestlers, specifically me. He never responded. Tito, thanks. The day I walked into professional wrestling school was the day that Steve Austin beat Shawn Michaels in Massachusetts, WrestleMania 14. And I win, get the belts, the ECW tag team title belts, and Nova basically says, I worked my ass off to get these belts. The place is no longer in business. You guys were the last ECW champions. These are your belts. To which Danny Doring said, so you beat us and you give us our belts back. Screw that. And they got heated. And it was basically, it was an argument between Danny, Roadkill, and Nova, because I was like, I'm not going to, this is not my place. I'm sitting in this really cool, and went down there and had an impromptu ladder match with the back seats. It's the first time I ever got busted open hard way, brother. They did the first show, and I actually replaced Samoa Joe in the main event against AJ, and can't have a bad match against AJ Styles, so we had a good one, and that kind of set the tone for the direction the company was going to go. Could you please turn the heat off? And we're like, I'm like, is this, like, is he okay? Why is he sweating? It's a degree in here. Why is he sweating? Like, I don't think Lex was in the best place, and we just saw him. He was angry. He was cutting promos on front desk clerks and just things like that. But that Saturday was my first ever Ring of Honor match. That Monday, I had a WWE tryout match, and that Wednesday was my TNA tryout match. Here's the idea: we're gonna have posts in the corner, and we're gonna have chain in the form of an X, and the object climb the chain and get to the belt. I thought it was awesome. I thought, this is cool, man. This is something new. There's not a lot of new things. There's not a lot of firsts in pro wrestling. Mr. Jarrett, I have an offer to go to WWE. This is for you. And it was just the heartfelt thank you for everything. And I said, thank you so much for everything. And he was just like, hey, in the territory days when guys could go make more money, I always told them to go make more money. Thank you. Very cool. And I think I mailed my letter to Dixie because I don't think she was there. The haircut was suggested.
By Steph?
By Vince.
Okay.
But it was in passing after Gorilla.
Right.
He was sitting in Gorilla. Great match, kid. Cut your hair. Can't see your face when you're selling. Oh, okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you. The previous story going back is I used to always wear my hair in a ponytail, and Johnny Ace told me, wear your hair down. The first time Vince Russo ever called me. He called me twice, and we'll probably get to the other one later. But the first time was he called me and he goes, bro, here's an idea. And he goes, Raven's best days are behind him.
Sounds just like
him. And I've spoke to him a lot, or he spoke to me a lot. And he goes, he cannot perform in the ring at the level that he once did. So here's what I'm thinking. I'm going to put you and Bentley and Johnny Devine with them. And okay. And he goes, bro, go to a thrift shop, get some, he basically was telling me to get goth style gear. And the final two were myself and Christian. And we had a ladder match, which is one of my favorites in TNA ever. And Christian's one of my favorite opponents. Probably the most underrated wrestler in the business. I'll always say this, of all the guys that have come to TNA from WWE, the four that I think benefited our roster at the time more than anybody was Christian, Kurt Angle, Bubba, and Devon. Those guys did not come in just to run roughshod or to take a vacation. They all came in. They all worked hard. They all created new stars by being in the ring with them. They all busted their ass in and out of the ring. Dustin was great, even doing the Black Rain character. Yeah. And then pointing out the Dutch Mantel, going like, Dutch, look at the top of this. There's no way to get out. There's nowhere to put your foot or your hands. So he's like, okay. So they get the carpenters up there, and they start trying to weld bars off of it. And like we're like 2 hours from doors. Huh. And I'm just like, let me try one more time. And I just kind of being disgruntled again, and I got out of it. And I'm like, okay, I can do it.
Right.
I can do it. We're fine. I can do it. If I could do it once on a dry run, I knew I could do it. All right, man. Okay, it was never, oh, I don't want to do this. It was, okay, it was, maybe in the back, it was like, God, why are they putting us in this stuff? But it was, all right, fine, absolutely, yes, sir. because I'm driving. So I stop in a parking lot and I call him. Hey, this is Frankie. He goes, bro, here's my idea. And he goes, okay, now you were heavily involved in the making of the TNA video game, right? And I go, no, that's not right. He goes, oh. I go, I was not involved at all, Vince. And he goes, okay. Cricket, 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 tumbleweed. Anyways, and he tells me, he goes, there's a character named Suicide. And he starts to explain the character in the video game. I had no idea, I think Chris and AJ and those guys had worked on it. I had never did anything with the video game. And he explains the character to me. And he goes, he's really sharp looking. He's got a cool mask. He's got a skull. And I remember I hated it. I went to Vince, I went to Jeff, and I went to Dixie, and I said, why me? Why me for this spot? And I said, Jeff, am I not good enough as Frankie Kazarian? Am I not a good enough wrestler? Why me? Why? What am I doing wrong that you're going to put me under a mask? Why? Same with Dixie. Why? What? And they said, well, it came down to this. We need somebody that we trust to play this role because this is going to be big. Whoa, brother, what was that? And I went, I think it was my tricep, dude. And from what my doctor told me later, I partially tore it in May, and then it just popped off the muscle off the bone that day. With the 4 individuals we had in there, and Ric Flair, this could be good. I doesn't want to sit and listen to Ric Flair bullshit about the old days and tell stories of them doing horrible ribs to guys that they thought were hysterical, but were basically attempted murder and stuff. But yeah, I remember one time when we were down there and Rick's paying for beverages, and we're having a great time drinking red wine with them, and he's talking about Harley Race and, just telling these war stories, and I'm just like a little kid, man. Just guys like Tommy Dreamer and guys like Sabu and guys like Stevie Richards was cool, and it provided fresh opponents for us, provided a cool feud. That pay-per-view that Tommy helped put together did great numbers for the company. Maybe he wasn't on the same page creatively as the new regime at the time.
Which was who?
I guess, to the best of my knowledge, it was John Gaburik, head of talent relations and head of creative, and Matt Conway and Dave Lagana. To him, the least. Terry Taylor being the guy that I had a really good rapport with and a friendship with. Bruce Pritchard, conversations with, and could talk to him, but never did really, and very little conversations with John or communication. AJ Styles left the company. AJ Styles left TNA, and then Jeff Jarrett left TNA. 2 red flags in my mind, like, whoa, brother. And a month earlier, this exact conversation was had with Chris Daniels, and that was obviously it was like, all right, well, I'll see you in a month.
You weren't even on the show. You weren't even on Bound for Glory, and you were doing a promo about, my 2 friends are fighting, and so around the same time. They were splitting up Beer Money, and the Motor City Machine Guns were out for injury. Shelley was hurt at that time.
Maybe.
So I remember talking to Frankie and going, man, they're not doing anything with me. They're not doing anything with you. Let's see if we can get a tag team going together, and maybe we can be something together rather than just separately spinning our wheels. So
yeah, he had just ended the feud with AJ, and I was just kind of a guy that ran in. I know our routine, whether it's getting to the airport, to the hotel, to the gym, to the show. I don't have to ask questions. I don't have to, and that's why we travel together, and that's why it's been us. And you throw AJ and Joe into that mix a little bit. But team first. It's always, is this idea good or bad or just different? There's always that back and forth. It's always what is going to benefit the match, what's going to benefit the angle. There's never stepping on toes. We're not afraid to say anything to each other. I don't think it's possible to insult each other at this point. It absolutely isn't.
Maury Povich, AJ Styles, you are not the father. Oh, that was the idea.
Scumbags, and which ultimately would have been way better than what happened. And that was literally 3 of us sitting in a hotel room.
What if we did this?
And
how about this? Yeah.
Getting jazzed and bouncing at because we were basically handcuffed, and that's where a lot of, I think, that creative freedom came into hand that Eric Bischoff allowed us, and
Jason Hervey,
and Dave Lagana.
Right.
And there was a lot of times that
and Dixie looked at us and he goes, Won't it be great when we're in Bound for Glory in Phoenix? Won't it be great when you guys are in Phoenix wrestling these guys? And she points to Chavo and Sean. And just the heat that you guys are going to get because you're in Latin backyard or whatever. Yeah. And we sort of looked at each other like, we're sort of getting heat on our own. We don't need to wrestle like the hometown guys. But okay. And so we knew going into Bound for Glory that those guys were going to get the belts. No. Originally they go, right, yeah, they're gonna we'll put the belts back on you guys overseas to get a big pop for a title change overseas, and then we get over there and we find out that Bobby Roode and Austin Aries are getting it in their first match as a team. They're gonna beat those guys clean as heels, beat them clean, and we thought, wait a minute, what the fuck is going on?
Yep.
So we go down through lockdown. You guys are on the pre-show battle, the gauntlet match, and we're thinking, well, certainly. We got to win that because who are the teams? It's EY and Joe Park, the Bromans, and Chavo and Sean. It's got to be us to wrestle the heels.
Yep.
And Gunner tells us, no, they're going to go with the Bromans. Okay.
All right.
So then, right around that time, we're thinking, well, wait a minute, wear that anymore. And I go, why not? And they said, well, the Spike guy says don't. So I went to the Spike guy and I said, what's going on? What's the matter? Why can't I wear this? You were letting me before. And he goes, well... we don't want to get in trouble with Marvel. And I was like, Marvel doesn't care. They're friends of mine. They're good. And then he's like, well, they're not paying us for that. And I'm thinking, they don't need the publicity from you. Everyone knows who Marvel is. What do you care? Why are you trying to monetize what shirt I wear? And then meanwhile, other wrestlers are wearing other things on television that aren't TNA brands.
It's a double standard. Absolutely.
Right. So we were like, what the hell? Trying to get them on TV, and Al Snow goes, oh, you can't wear those. Why not? They're not TNA brand merchandise. But there's TNA wrestlers. Yeah, but Dixie, while you were going down the ring, Dixie texted me and said, don't wear that shirt. Don't let him wear that shirt anymore. And I was like, okay.
What about that guy wearing the Motorhead shirt?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Motorhead's not a sponsored TNA brand.
Or the hardcore 5150 shirt.
I'm cool with it, but let's not have double standards.
They decided to go with the Bromans. I like Robbie and I like Jesse, but I'll say this right now: we're a better team than them. We're a better team. We're more entertaining and we're better wrestlers. And that's it. And I love him to death. And Jesse has worked really hard to get where he's at right now, and he's learning like leaps and bounds. But side by side, we are a better team than them, and they decided to go with them, and that's a personal decision.
It's one of those things like it's like you start to think like does somebody just not like us? Like you always hear that, and I would even ask like did we piss somebody off? Did somebody just not like us? No, you guys are doing great, and then
position and hearing them go, man, that was shit.
Yeah, no,
you guys fucked up.
No, it was
what the fuck?
It was always the overhand tug.
Oh, you guys, that was great, guys. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
and I have no problem telling this story. A week later, they tweet a picture of James Storm giving the Red Cross a check
for like $2,500.
25, yeah.
All the boys just.
I texted John Gaburk and I said, how do you think it makes us feel to know that our checks are behind schedule and you're giving money to the Red Cross? And he goes, I think that's really uncool that you're comparing yourself to those in real need. And I said, it's not about the people in need. I'm not saying that I need the money more than a homeless person. All I'm saying is pay your employees before you go out and go on Twitter and tell the world that you're a magnanimous charitable organization. Make sure that your people are paid, especially around Christmas time. That was when we found out we weren't on the TV. Right. So then I got on Twitter and said, hey, Frankie's been blinded by the Muda, so we're not going to be at TV, so ban the mist. And we did the hashtag ban the mist for a while. Right. They're going to maybe re-sign me and just tell me I'm off TV until they don't know when. And then I walked in and he's like, we're not going to renew your contract. We're going in a different direction. We'd like to keep the lines of communications open and maybe do something in the future. And I was just like...
It had gotten to the point, like I had said earlier,
okay.
when in January my mind was made up. We were actually told, after we pitched an idea, actually two of them, that's too entertaining. That will steal the segment.
Oh, yeah.
And my thought was, sorry, I was kind of brought up to steal the segment, man. If the red light's on, I'm gonna steal the damn segment. I'm not gonna step on any toes, and compromise an angle. but I'm gonna get myself over, and I'm gonna steal the show. That's we're actually
still gonna do the business.
And actually, absolutely, the business is still gonna get done.
I feel like I've been doing a deposition for a court hearing.
Exactly.